All right, hey everybody, welcome to our very first episode of our new podcast, Convince Us. My name's Corey Huffman.
I am Colin Lyons, and this is going to be an awesome show. We're going to take you on a wild ride down the road of conspiracies. We're just two normal guys, right, Corey?
Yes, well, I don't know. I mean, you could say we're normal. I would consider us normal. Some people might consider us slightly weird.
We got families, we got jobs, but we dabble a little bit in interesting topics, and we've been friends for a really long time, and conspiracies just, they grabbed us.
I mean, who doesn't like a good conspiracy theory, even if you don't wear tinfoil on your head?
Even if it's so out there, it's still interesting, because if anything, whether you're interested in it because you believe it, or you just think it's so crazy, and so you click on a link just to read about it because it sounds out of this world.
It's entertaining at the least. So, we're a couple normal guys. We think they're intriguing. We're fairly cynical toward a lot of them, but we've decided for this podcast we're going to keep an open mind. We're going to take a good hard look at a number of conspiracies and see if maybe they'll convince us of what they're about, and maybe they won't. So it's kind of like Mythbusters without the science.
And with all podcasts, we want to get you included as much as possible. This podcast is called Convince Us, and it's going to be hard to convince us if no one talks to us. So please find us on Facebook over at Convince Us Podcast. You can email us at convinceuspodcast@gmail.com. Find us at Twitter at convinceuspodcast.
Podcast was too long if we put the whole thing in there. So
Twitter did not like that. And you can obviously download us on iTunes, and be sure to subscribe so that you don't miss our episodes as they come out frequently.
And like our Facebook. And all of the info is on Facebook. So if you start there, you can find the email, the Twitter, and everything on it as well. So, and we don't have any sponsors yet. So if you're interested in, giving us some money, you can do that too.
That's right.
We like money.
Let's get into it, though.
All right. Yes. Well, first off, what'd you do this weekend? Anything sweet? Anything fun?
I slammed. I'm super tired because I watched Stranger Things 2 all in one long run.
The whole season.
The whole season.
Wow.
You can't, you just got to take it.
I know.
I think I gained a few pounds. Not that I have many pounds to gain, but I just sat on the couch and ate Rice Krispie treats and watched Stranger Things 2. It was so good.
Oh, man.
There was a couple episodes that were a little off that was disappointing, but by and large, it was an outstanding second showing.
I'm very happy to hear that. I just finished episode 4, I believe. We've taken it 2 at a time. So we watched 4 episodes, and it's real good.
Who's your favorite new character?
I'm kind of digging. I'm only four episodes in. There's something up with him, something kind of weird, but the new guy, Billy, with the sweet car.
That's right.
And he's pretty intense.
He's Van Halen.
Something intense about him, but he's interesting. And I got to say also the throwback value of Sean Astin, Encino Man, Goonies, it's fun seeing him in there as well. So
that's good. And we got Halloween coming up. This is the perfect time to start this podcast. And JFK's files were just released.
And there's all kinds of crazy things going on with our government right now too. So
man, it's just a great time to listen to a conspiracy podcast.
Oh man.
So let's get into a couple. So the way we want to do this is kind of, there's so many conspiracy theories out there, Corey. It's just hard to keep track of them all. I mean, there's like the kind of silly ones like Bigfoot's or Loch Ness Monster, and then there's the ridiculously absurd ones, and then there's the ones that are kind of like where you sit, and that's where that's where we want to go.
But we do want to acknowledge some of the really crazy ones.
Corey, give me one. Just lay one on me, man. What do you got in your notes?
Okay, I'm gonna hit you with my favorite one, which is we've all heard. I listened to My Favorite Murder, really great,
outstanding
other podcast.
Yes,
and they've talked a lot about JonBenet Ramsey and her death. Now, there's a crazy theory out there that JonBenet Ramsey didn't actually die, and she's actually grown up Katy Perry.
Katy Perry, what happened?
Yeah,
why'd you leave your family?
Who knows? Man. I don't know what happened.
It's great to laugh. I feel bad though because there was a real JonBenet Ramsey.
Too soon?
And no, but she's gone. Like she has a real family, right?
Yeah.
I mean, who knows what the family did? Like they were probably the ones that I don't know. What?
There's a lot of theories.
Maybe we'll get to that one as real. One of my favorite ones. You love pizza.
I do love pizza.
You love pizza.
Yes.
You hate child abuse.
I hate it with a passion.
Yeah. So Hillary Clinton, to cover up some child abuse charges. She had it in a pizza restaurant.
She abused children in pizza restaurant?
No. Like, the pizza restaurant is a front for this child abuse ring that the Clintons owned.
Wow.
It's a little crazy.
I never knew.
No, I think I got that wrong, but it doesn't even matter. There's some pizza restaurant somewhere, Luigi's in New York, that's a front for this child abuse ring that the Clintons run. So
maybe it's Clintoni's. Molto bene.
No, it's not that.
Okay, last one for tonight.
Yes.
Or today, whatever time you're listening to this podcast. This is a pretty popular one, but Ted Cruz, the guy that ran for president or to be the Republican nominee, turns out he's actually the Zodiac killer.
No.
They never caught the Zodiac killer. It's Ted Cruz.
It's not Ted Cruz.
Look, yeah, there's a picture.
It's Ted Cruz's dad, isn't it?
No. There's a picture of Ted Cruz.
Oh, my mind is open.
Heck,
he's not that old, though, is he?
How do you know how old the Zodiac killer was? Did he say?
Maybe just moisturizes. I don't know. It was like in the 70s, wasn't it? In San Francisco.
Yeah, maybe he was 8. I don't know. Maybe they are saying it's his father, but
my dad grew up in San Francisco during the Zodiac killer phase.
I didn't know. Well, yeah, I didn't know that. Speaking of dads.
Yeah. I'm a little freaked out right now.
There's maybe a conspiracy going on in this.
It's not a conspiracy. It's just I love your dad. He's a great guy. And he runs a wood shop business.
A door shop.
A door shop. He makes doors out of wood. So I was partially right.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Give it to me. Yeah. So there are these like vivid memories of me being in like childhood friends' homes. Like you spend the night, right? And there's like dolls everywhere because the sister has all these dolls.
Weird friends.
I do have weird friends. In this room that we're doing this podcast, there are doorknobs everywhere. And it's really disconcerting.
Yes, my dad has
I'm
some
looking at like 30 doorknobs all posted on these boards.
Yeah, they're like
all
displays.
Around me.
There's some of them are pretty fancy.
Yeah, but I just watched Beauty and the Beast a couple days ago with my daughter. I feel like these things are gonna wake their faces up and chew on my toes.
Yeah, to clarify, we're in my dad's home office because I actually live with my dad. Like I said, we just moved back from Denver. Yeah. My family and I live with my father.
Right.
And so he's graciously letting us use his office. So his office is basically ducks and doorknobs and Dale Earnhardt. All things with a D. Yeah. It's a conspiracy.
The Dale Earnhardt poster makes it, though. It's a great picture.
It's good. It's
reflections.
Good. So, anyways, that's just to paint the picture of where
Corey,
we're sitting as we get serious.
This is what we're gonna do. We're gonna set up a little roulette wheel in here, craps table. You choose. What you got a podcast in the hopper?
Yeah,
I got a podcast, and we're just gonna have to present them, and then not democratically because there's only 2 of us decide on who wins out. So, what did you bring for me today?
Well, I really want to get into the flat Earth, the flat Earth conspiracy. Hollow Earth,
Corey, it's real, man. No,
well,
it's just not.
I mean, conspiracy doesn't mean it's not real.
Okay, so
it
you got
means
flat Earth.
Someone's out to get us.
You got flat Earth. You brought that to the table.
Yeah, I mean, you think about NBA players like Kyrie Irving.
Okay, buddy, hold up.
All right.
This is our first podcast. I'm laying down the full house. I don't know anything about cards, but I think the full house is a good deck, right?
It's
a good hand?
Good hand, yes. It's a good hand.
Okay. I mean, it's the first one. We got to go all out. We're going to go New World Order.
Ooh.
The Illuminati. We have to. What do you think? Flat Earth, Illuminati.
Yeah. I mean, there's a little more history. Well, I mean, there's a lot of history of the flat Earth, too. I mean, that's what people...
Quite a bit, I guess.
A long time ago. Okay, fine. I love you. I usually win most debates and arguments we have, so I'll let you win this one. We'll go with the Illuminati.
That's a dumb reason, but I'll take it. All right, so we're going to dig in a little bit to the New World Order and the Illuminati. Now, if you're not familiar with it, it's crazy. It's essentially, there's a group of people underground, lizard people, to some conspiracy. That's a we're going to bring up our good friend from InfoWars quite a bit, Alex Jones. So he's a big New World Order guy, and I don't know anything about the guy really. I've watched his shows.
Except he talks like this, Alex Jones.
He's really strong, I guess. He's really into taking his shirt off.
Really?
Yeah. So that's good for him. I mean, I can't look down upon the guy. I don't really know him.
Taking your shirt off makes you really strong because I can take my shirt off too.
You are strong, though.
Oh, okay.
Not that makes you strong, I suppose.
Oh, yeah. All
It's like the Hulk. You take your clothes off, and all of a sudden you're strong.
right.
Regardless.
Take my shirt off right now.
So he thinks that there's lizard people that are...
What is that?
Philadelphia cream cheese, made with fresh milk and real cream. Makes you
What's happening?
The holidays are made with Philly.
What's that?
I have no idea.
This episode of Convince is sponsored by Philly cream cheese. It's amateur hour, first podcast.
Yeah, we have to cut all this crap out, though.
Man, I can't wait till 10 episodes from now. We look back and we go, wow, that really sucked. Let's do it again.
All right.
Okay, so
Back to
we're
it.
talking about Alex Jones, lizard people. I want to know, what's a lizard people? What are lizard people?
Yeah, so he's really into this idea. We don't need to get too deep into it, but he thinks that, whether it's a joke or not, you can't read the guy very well, but that there's these, essentially society of really powerful beings that are kind of pulling strings, right? So that's a premise of where he goes, and he calls them the lizard people. But whether they're actually lizards or not, I don't know, because I can't read that guy very well.
Wait, so they're not lizards?
I think he's, I don't know.
Do people think they're lizards?
It's like, you know, when someone like does something like what do you call used car salesmen? You call them slimy, right? And it's it's the lizard people that are like controlling it. Like they're just evil, cold-blooded, heartless lizard brain.
Oh, because they're
a-holes.
cold-blooded.
I don't know.
Lizard brain.
I think
versus
he probably
wizard
actually
brain.
believes just like lizard people, like a straight up 80s movie lizard people.
Well, that's what I'm trying to figure out. Is it just a metaphor, or do people really think there's actual lizard people?
I don't know.
Well, okay, let's move on. But
Yeah.
I'm gonna research that while you keep going.
So the Illuminati is kind of where it all starts, right? As far as where American understandings of the New World Order come from. So the Illuminati is kind of the shady organization, a fraternity based in Germany, started in the year, get this, 1776.
That sounds like a familiar year.
It freaks a lot of Americans out, I think. It's probably just the year. It's not even the word Illuminati. But now it's become this funny thing. I'm a middle school teacher, and the kids always talk about it. You know, Illuminati, they really focus on the eyeball and the pyramid on the back of the dollar. That's right.
The thing Beyonce does, isn't that?
Sure. Yeah. You're a lot more into pop culture than I am. But look,
Sure.
the original society's goals were to oppose superstition, obscurity, religious influence over public life, and abuses of state power. That's like the culmination of everything that's against the New World Order. That they want to have religious freedom, right? This is the 1700s in Germany. You got Catholics, you got Protestants, they're all fighting each other. And this society was just like, don't worry about it. We need to just focus on people, right? So one of the quotes that they wrote was, the order of the day in their general statutes is to put an end to the machinations of the purveyors of injustice, to control them without dominating them. So that freaks a lot of people out, though. They have the word control and dominate in their essential, like...
But without dominating.
Yes, but they want to control them. And people don't like being controlled. Especially a lot of these militiamen in the United States, where they want to take on their own personal rights, right?
So I grew up, my guns.
Right. So I grew up in this small town growing up, and there's like these guys. I remember as a kid going to the grocery store, and they'd roll up in their like camo painted Broncos with all of their, you know, green BDU uniforms. They're old that they got at the Army surplus store down the road. And they would come in and buy food, and they all lived in the mountains. So these are those guys to like start out with. Now it's kind of gained a little more steam, but these are the original guys. And they kind of came out of the 1960s. There's this guy named Robert Welch Jr. who started something called the John Birch Society, which still exists. They still exist, and they try to put a lot of influence towards government in Washington, D.C., and it's a big deal. And they would watch these films that he directed about the Red Scare and communism, excuse me, and like they would produce pamphlets and other materials to essentially talk about how they are as like a limited government, anti-communist advocacy group. But even today they're labeled as kind of fringe and extreme. So that's kind of that's the start of it. Okay. So the 1960s and the Illuminati, and people use the Illuminati and the New World Order kind of interchangeably. Just depends on
I notice you have, so I'm assuming that's what other people do.
That's what I've seen in my research.
You're the
I'm
expert.
sure our people are going to come in and set us straight. But as far as I'm concerned, I think that where people who really focus on the NWO or the New World Order, they just kind of choose a couple different names to talk about the same thing. So the Illuminati are trying to essentially enact domination over the human population, and the New World Order is obviously doing the same thing. So they're either part and parcel of the same thing, or
I wonder if anybody's come up with like a cool shortened nickname for them or something like the Illums or like N-Dubs.
You going to the naughty meeting tonight? Stuff like that.
The Naughties, yeah.
You going to the naughty meeting? It's over
Exactly.
it's over at the Bunko Palace.
The back room of the Bunko Palace. Chicken.
So essentially it started out as this in the 1960s in the United States. And the United States is by far the country with the vast majority of people that follow the New World Order or that believe in it and fear it. Okay.
Because we're the smartest.
Because and they are primarily like the anti-government kind of people. And secondarily, the people that also kind of fall into the New World Order belief system is like the fundamentalist people that are really concerned with end-time prophecy. And so they kind of encroach, right? And like Obama caught a lot of flack from this, right? They're like, he's going to usher in the end times. He's the one that will ride upon the dragon's back. Stuff like that, okay? So that's kind of where we come from.
Yeah.
Anyway, so that's like
Makes sense.
super basic history, right?
Okay.
Any questions? Did you take your notes?
Yeah. I'm looking at your notes, so.
Okay, perfect.
Sweet.
So do you want to hear some of not crazy, I shouldn't say crazy.
Yeah, let's
gotta
not
be
use the word crazy
Sorry.
because we want to be respectful of our friends out there who deeply are passionate about some of these.
So do you want to hear about some of the policies and some of the skills that the Illuminati / New World Order are a part of?
Yeah, I want to hear about some of the really intriguing pieces.
Let me give you a good one. This is
Sounds
really
good.
interesting. It's called the Silent Sound Spread Spectrum, or
Silent sound spread spectrum.
yeah, don't say that. Don't say it fast. It's a waste of time. But you can just say
Silent sound spread spectrum.
yeah.
Okay.
So or it's also known as voice to skull technology, or V2K.
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 Voice to skull. That sounds like a good band name.
I don't know why they didn't pick V2S, but they picked V2K. So they picked
The S
K.
is silent. We've been
Voice
saying
to,
it wrong.
Voice to call. Anyway, so this is really interesting because they look at it in the sense that we are essentially becoming a lot more docile as a human race because they're sending these radio waves and these microwaves through our skulls, so things are passing through us all the time. That's like a true thing, right? You got radio waves passing through your brain all the time.
Yeah.
And it just happens. Like if I turned on the radio over here, like the radio waves are passing through your brain. Nobody cares. But with the it's that they're sending these microwaves that are essentially either killing the brain cells in your mind that allow you to recognize like, oh, or they're brainwashing you. And that's a big deal. Because to wash your brain, that can be deadly. You shouldn't do that.
Yeah, you need to not have too clean of a brain.
No.
Well, and I've lived, in a couple of states now that have legalized marijuana. I mean, that could also be why people are getting more docile. I'm just going to throw that out there.
We also are in the mecca of brew pubs. So
True. I mean,
There's a
people
lot-
are just
there's a lot of-
chilling out and having a brew together.
a docility here in Eugene. I don't think that's a word. I made it up. It sounds right though.
Sounds good.
So
Yes.
the or the V2K, the voice to call technology, or skull for us plebeians, that the New World Order created this technology essentially to make us less and less apt to have like protests and stuff. Mm-hmm. If that's true, it's not working. There's lots of protests going on right now, so I think they're
That's just what they want you to believe.
their SSSS kind of sucks, so it's not working very well.
Sucks.
Yeah. So another good one that I really like that I thought was pretty clever. And you see it a lot in movies. Like, do you remember that movie with Russell Crowe, and he's like the super smart mathematician?
Oh, yeah.
And he's schizophrenic, right? And it's a true story.
Beautiful
And
Mind.
Beautiful Mind, right. With Jennifer Connelly. She's so great in that movie. She's really pretty. But anyway, so
we'll edit that part out for when.
So there's always these scenes, especially in like Cold War stuff, where these guys have a bunch of like papers on the wall, and they they piece it together, and they got the string there and everything, right? You know what I'm talking about. You see it in pop culture.
Yeah.
You put the stuff in the pictures. So there's a lot of clues in literature, is what a lot of people in the New World Order believe. So a popular one is H.G. Wells, that he left clues in his novels, that he was on to something. And if they can just find the correct order of words as they go down a page, they'll like black stuff out. They'll see the secret message.
It's kind of like the Da Vinci Code, and
exactly,
he sees everything. He sees like the fourth letter of every in anagrams.
That's exactly right.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah. So who knows? H.G. Wells, Edgar Allan Poe, Jane Austen, Calvin and Hobbes comics. It's there. How many books are in the world, Corey?
Right in front of you.
It could be a Clifford book, man.
Lots of books.
It's probably not a Clifford book. There's not many words in
My
Clifford
kids
books.
read a lot of those Clifford books.
So. Yeah, well, I read a lot of children's books, and I wish they weren't as long.
I know you gotta up your reading level and be able to start reading some deeper stuff there, buddy.
I'm at level 3 on Scholastic books now. I'm getting there. So those are some of the fun ones. Then there's the bigger ones. So there's money. Money's a big deal. So there's the Rothschild Group family, and they own $500 trillion.
$500 trillion. That's a lot of dollars.
I don't think it actually exists. Most experts pitch it as there's only $250 trillion even in currency around the world.
Aren't we like $250 trillion in debt as a country?
We're climbing that way, I guess.
Like
I don't know. It's not real money. But the New World Order people, they really focus on, or the NWO believers, I should say, really focus on the Rothschild family because they came out of Germany at the same time as the Illuminati, and they're really wealthy, and they're also Jewish, which catches a lot of flack, unfortunately. But that's kind of where they came from. But they believe that this family orchestrates banks, stock markets, wars, disasters, just to keep us in check until they can sweep in Antichrist style and save the world for itself and become the rulers. This family. And the big guy right now, his name is Jake. Well, it's Jacob, but...
Jake from State Farm?
It's exactly. I'm sure his name, it's like Jakob, right? I mean, he's German. He lives in Switzerland, but it's like, hey, Jake, what's
we'll
up?
Just call him Jake.
How's the taking over the world thing going, man? So I think the idea of these guys kind of taking over is a little far-fetched, but we'll get into that later. So another good thing, which you'll love, and you guys got to look up pictures of this because it's really interesting. It really is. And it kind of throws me off a little bit, I'll be honest. They're called the Georgia Guidestones. Have you ever heard of them?
No.
You got to look them up.
I've heard of Georgia.
That's great. So the Georgia Guidestones are awesome because they're these giant like monoliths in Georgia that have these guidelines for how humans should live. And it's like keep the population low and make sure that you have a strong leader and all this stuff. And it's done in a few different languages so that the idea is if society collapses, these stones will remain. And whatever group of people come upon the United States in 10,000 years, hopefully they'll be able to decipher what it says. So that's pretty interesting. Are you looking at them?
Yeah, I'm looking. I just Googled them on my smartphone.
Don't use Google. That's also anti-New World Order.
Oh no! Shoot.
Use DuckDuckGo.
Who built these? The New World Order?
So yeah, nobody. I mean, this guy like paid for them in cash and said came up with like this name, and that's like it. So there's like no tracing to where they go or who built them or anything like that. So it was like a pseudonym. This guy named Robert Christian, and so he like paid for them on behalf of a small group of loyal Americans to commission the structure. So then they were supposed to funkus. I'm making up words like crazy. Function as a compass, calendar, and a clock. that can withstand catastrophic events.
Really?
So people are like really nervous about it because you're supposed to. You want to hear what the guidelines are for it?
Yeah.
It's pretty interesting. I mean, it really is interesting. It's in English, Spanish, Swahili, Hindi, Hebrew, Arabic, Chinese, and Russian. And that kind of like follows all the different written languages. You have alphanumeric like us. You have Cyrillic, Russian. You have, character like Chinese, Arabic, which is another character language.
So do you think like some dude, came up with a few things and just went to Google Translator and did all these different languages?
I don't know. I'm sure they've probably checked it out. But here's the 10 rules. You ready? Drum roll, everybody on your car. No, you don't do that.
Okay,
You're gonna
sorry.
do it on their
Oh yeah.
steering wheel.
Sorry.
Here goes. Number 1, maintain humanity under 500 million in perpetual balance with nature. That's already kind of creepy to me.
Yeah.
It's like you got to kill 600 billion people, 650 billion people, or
Wait. What?
Yeah, 6.5 billion people.
Oh, okay. And it says 500 million.
500 million.
Million.
It says
okay.
Number 2, guide reproduction wisely, improve fitness and diversity. So that's like don't be fat.
Well,
Number 3,
improve diversity too. Don't be all.
and have lots of sex.
Don't be
Guide
just white.
reproduction wisely. Wisely. Maybe it's just once a month.
You can say diversity too.
And diversity.
Yeah. So
Spread
don't
the
be
love.
just white.
No. Unite humanity. Maybe that's why they're afraid of it.
That could be.
Number 3, unite humanity with a living new language. So one language. Number 4, rule passion, faith, tradition, and all things with tempered reason. Number 5, protect people and nations with fair laws and just courts. Now this one is interesting to me. I don't know why the New World Order freaks out. Nations? That means that there's going to be a few nations. That's not New World Order. New World Order is one nation.
Yeah, this might not be New World.
No, I don't think it is. Number 6, let all nations rule internally, resolving external disputes in a world court. Now that gets a little funky. Number 7, avoid petty laws and useless officials.
Okay.
I like that one.
Yeah.
Number 8, balance personal rights with social duties. Number 9, prize truth, beauty, love, seeking harmony with the infinite. And number 10, be not a cancer on the earth. Leave room for nature, leave room for nature.
Wait, leave room for nature 2 times?
Leave room for nature 2 times.
Wow.
He really likes nature, whoever this guy is.
I like nature, and I do agree we do need to leave a little room.
So for this one, it's like, out of the 10, there's a few of them that are a little like, yeah. But we already got a world court, so you win. And it's actually a pretty decent deal, right? It's in The Hague, in the Netherlands. I've been there.
Sounds like a conspiracy to me.
Well, sure, but it's important. Like, if you have some African warlords, you got to, like, make sure that if the African warlord is in a country that doesn't have necessarily a proper justice system, you got to make sure that he's brought to justice because those people deserve it.
Sure.
So world courts are great.
Yeah.
Guiding reproduction wisely, I mean,
I don't know about that.
500 million people, that's a little too much for me. Come on now.
Yeah.
You can't just shut down reproduction. I mean, you can, but
Well,
anyway.
that sounds like one of the Dan Brown books, Da Vinci Code books I read.
You're really
It's
into
all
Da
about
Vinci Code.
It's good. It has some good characters. It's fun.
Does it?
It's conspiracies.
It's kind of written pretty poor. But I can
But
only read
it's
at a third grade
fun.
level.
It's fun. Yeah, it's not the best, but it's a fun read. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
It's
So this is kind of my wrap up here. Okay.
All right,
So
wrap
the
it up.
NWO is kind of the what they see is, or what people see it as, is kind of a manifest destiny. Do you remember that from like 7th grade?
Yes, I do.
Okay, so they kind of have this manifest destiny mentality. So they see the Illuminati, the Rothschilds, the NWO as people or organizations in the same vein as the biblical Antichrist, where he brings people together and then shuts them all down, right? That's kind of that story of the Antichrist. Or I was thinking, like Liam Neeson's character, Ra's al Ghul from Batman Begins, which I'm sure many of our listeners have seen. But he's this guy who's
Great
like,
movie.
it's a great movie, and he's this guy who supposedly helps Batman, or sorry, Bruce Wayne. I don't know,
Jeez.
who knows that he's Batman? Spoiler alert.
Hashtag spoiler alert.
Dang it, ruined it. So he like helps Batman. He's like all about truth and justice and all this kind of stuff, right? And then he comes out and he's like, I'm going to destroy Gotham because you're so broken. We just have to restart. And that's where Batman's like, nuh-uh. Like, I'm going to save all these people. Where are they? I would like to do that, but it's not. Anyway, so that is that the world is broke. only the New World Order, the Rothschilds, can fix it. They have all the resources, all the money, all the power, all the guns, all the
lots of
weapons.
money.
And therefore, it's their duty to do this for humanity's survival. And this is like the premise of every like apocalyptic video game or novel or anything like that. That people would destroy all the we are just cannon fodder, you and I. We're just normal people. If they get rid of all the normal people, save some of the rich and wealthy and really smart and really healthy and really fit people, they can restart humanity for the good.
Yeah, I need to keep running. I need to
So,
get more healthy and fit.
yeah, you got to be one of the chosen
Make
ones.
some money here.
So, anyway.
So, are you? Here's the question. I mean,
Yeah.
are we convinced of this being a thing? What are you convinced?
I don't know.
You studied it a lot.
So this is the thing. Like the NWO, I keep going back to like 90s WrestleMania, playing the video game like NWO characters,
Yes.
and then
Hulk Hogan was a part of that for a while.
was he?
Yeah, that was later.
You were a lot more into it than I was, but I was into it.
I don't know if I was into it that much. I just knew about it.
That's true.
I
guess
just know about pop culture
Okay.
without watching it.
that's true. But I think they have this. I think they are right in that, at least in our American culture, they focus a lot on American culture. It's really apathetic, and that's true. When we're pretty self-serving to see the problems around us, and even if when we do see the problems around us, we don't follow them through. So, do you remember like Michael Jordan had his shoes being made by child laborers in like the
Yes.
90s, right? And so everybody was outraged, and it was a big deal. He went over there to see, and then the outrage died down, but it's still happening.
Well, Nike, I mean, in general, Nike does some of that. We live in a Nike town.
I know.
Students started protesting.
They're gonna
and
come
Phil-
in. They're gonna,
Uncle,
they're gonna come in. It's a
Uncle Phil was
conspiracy.
like, I'm not going to give all this money. And all the students were like, okay, we'll be quiet.
So, and a lot of companies get in trouble for this every year. So H&M always gets in hot water because they make cheap clothes, and people kind of know, like, I'm buying a T-shirt for $3 brand new. It's gotta be there's some weird things behind it.
Yeah, I'm not at Goodwill. So,
No, right. So they have this idea that American culture is too apathetic. They always they're one of their terms is wake up, right? Wake up, sheeple.
Get woke.
Get I don't know that they say that, but they do
Someone
say
does.
they do
Cool
say
people.
wake up. That's more like people that aren't conspiracy theorists. Regardless, we are good at naming a problem and then not caring enough to see it fixed all the way through.
Sure.
And they know that. And so I think that they think that they are so woke that they know what's going on. So our cause only exists as far as our apathy will let many of us, and I think they have it right. They seem to be applying it to the wrong things, though.
But are there really, I mean, when it comes down to it, do you think there's really this elite group of people ruling the world?
So this
behind
is
the
you're
scenes?
gonna have to convince
Or
me.
America.
I don't think so. We're pretty. So a big tenet of the New World Order is that they kind of orchestrate the presidency and world leaders. I don't think they orchestrated this presidency. And if they did, they definitely pulled out the wrong bingo ball.
Well, there seems like that nobody can end this presidency. So I don't know. That's a good point. I think it's an intriguing theory to me. I can't say that I'm totally think it's false. I could see potentially, with, just the little things you see here and there, and the way that the wealthiest of the wealthy are able to network and kind of pull strings with each other.
Right.
I could see some plausibility there, but yeah, I'm not totally convinced. Same as you, I think.
No.
Thinking through it from a practical standpoint, kind of what's the point?
Right.
When it comes down to it, I mean, if they're already ruling the world.
Well, and the money thing, like they'll have the money. If that's the main premise, that they just want power and they want money, I think that the idea that they come out of the woodwork to be like, haha, look at us, we were the ones all the time. Yeah. I don't see the purpose of it, I guess. And if someone is really that powerful, they're not going to come out of the woodwork, right? If they've done shady things, they're going to stay. They're going to stay in the shadows. Yeah. Exactly. So I don't know. You're gonna have to do a bit of convincing on my end. listeners and trying to help us out. And that's and we want to sit in the middle. I mean, we want people to come in and help us back up our claims. We also want people to come in and be like, you got that wrong.
Yeah,
like,
what did we
dummy?
what
Rothschilds
did we miss?
were this. Yeah.
What do we miss in this? If we miss something, let us know. Convince us that we're wrong and we need to relook at some things.
So the last thing that I'll say about the New World Order, though, that's really interesting. Are you ready for this?
I hope so.
Okay. Is that,
can be convinced
as I said a few times, the vast majority of New World Order people live in the United States. And there's some like YouTube videos that I watch and stuff scattered in like Scandinavia. But I think it's just because they're so cold and bored. Just like, I'll believe anything. I just need people to watch my videos. I'm so tired and sad. But they all originate from Europe. Like they're super into Europeans. Like they're so sophisticated, those Europeans.
That sounds like you when you go back from Germany.
I was not that. I probably was. But they're all Europeans and they're all Jewish. And there's like this tinge of anti-Semitism within the New World Order community. And not that all, I mean, some New World Order people might be watching this because they see that it's a conspiracy theory podcast. But you might not be an anti-Semite, but you have to take into consideration that many of your brethren are. And that's a really unique, that always kind of, that always throws me off when I'm looking at a conspiracy is that, are they looking for someone to make a mistake? And they're looking for the Jews to make a mistake so that they can beat them back down. And that's just, that to me already is like red flag. This is not a real thing.
Yeah.
Like any facts that they find always point back to, it's this Jewish, the Zionists taking over. And I'm like, no. I don't think so.
All right. Well, there you have it. Our first topic of our first episode of Convince Us. And we're gonna for now say that we are unconvinced.
No, totally not convinced.
So we're open though to hearing more if you wanna share.
Yeah,
more
give us some ideas because if you got something good that I missed, and there's a ton of crap on the internet, and so it's only so much I can do.
Like we said, we're two normal guys with families and jobs. So
I literally had my computer open on the kitchen counter while I'm playing soccer with my 8-year-old son.
Yeah,
as I'm watching YouTube videos and having to pause it. And I'm like, Caden, leave the room for a second.
This is a pretty basic stab at each conspiracy theory. So help us out a little bit. You can find us at facebook.com/convinceuspodcast, convinceuspodcast@gmail.com, and on Twitter at convinceuspcast, with a P, not P-E-E. But one thing I think we need to do.
Yeah, I got something for you, Corey. I've got a problem.
I
got a problem with the world.
Uh-oh.
Yes. As you know, because you love me so much, I am colorblind. It's a problem. You can't join the Air Force. Can't see what color an apple is. I don't know if I'm eating a Granny Smith or Red Delicious until I bite into it. It's just the worst.
It's not a problem for me. I still like you.
Yeah, but it's red-green colorblindness. It's a sad life I lead.
Gosh.
I spend a lot of time walking alone on the beach.
Wow. Sad.
Yeah. There's a problem. There's a big problem. And that problem is stop signs. They're red. And I can't see them. They blend in with the trees, man. They're trying to kill us off. I swear there's a conspiracy that they made stop signs red because they blend in with foliage, and it's a blatant attempt to eradicate the colorblind among us.
That's an interesting theory.
No, it's not an interesting theory. It's a real thing.
So how many stop signs have you ran? Or do you even know?
I can't say. It's on the radio, and I don't want the police to come knocking on my door.
Can you see the pole that the stop sign's on, or the white outline of the sign?
You're thinking into it. Don't read into this, Corey. It's the red. This is not how you do conspiracy theories. You take the information you have, which is red, and you run with it.
Okay.
And who cares? I don't know if it says stop. Maybe it says post. Rearrange letters.
Pops.
Maybe it says tops. Tops here, everybody.
Wait.
Come get your free tops.
Are you dyslexic too?
It could be.
Because if you're dyslexic and colorblind, that might be a problem.
Yeah, I guess I am. And I'm post-dyslexic. I can't see the post.
Well,
but sometimes stop signs are on wood poles. How terrible is that? Then it looks like a tree.
That's true.
A tree with a perfectly octagon leaf.
All right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we'll leave you with trying to figure out what's up with stop signs. If you do know anything about this conspiracy that I've just heard for the very first time in my entire life, let us know. Maybe there's something good there. So we're going to be back with another podcast coming up. We're going to bring a couple more ideas. We'll fight about which one we'll tackle, and hopefully it'll be something good. So tune in next time. Everybody have a great day or evening or whatever
Outstanding
time it is.
Be sure to hit us up.
Convince us.
Convince us.